Okay, welcome back guys. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a review on a couple of DVDs here. First one we're going to be doing for today is this guy here from Adam Wilder, and it's dealing with photo etch. Now you guys have probably seen this guy, his name plastered around the internet. He is a brilliant modeler, and this DVD I've ordered it in. I've only had it for a couple of weeks. I've watched it several times now, so I'll just go through the good and the bad on this DVD. I've had a lot of people have asked about working with photo etch, and I'm no expert myself in it, so I thought, well, this DVD would be good to add to the collection. I've heard some good things about it, so I bought it and just run through the good and the bad with you. The first part of this is one of the bad parts of it, is the music. The music drove me insane. It's obviously to the royalty-free music that's been grabbed off the internet somewhere or wherever they've got it from, but the music just drove me insane. It's very repetitive and it's really cheesy and corny and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, that's not what we buy these DVDs for. They're not there to entertain us with the music in the background. So at the end of the day, it's probably a small problem, but it did drive me insane by the end of the DVD, because it's the same couple of songs played over and over, and they're very cheesy and corny and just didn't sort of match what was going on in the DVD. But that was probably the biggest complaint that I've had about it. But like I say, that's not what we buy these DVDs for. Okay, so we'll get on with some of the good stuff. With the techniques he uses in here, he goes through everything from soldering, using blue tack to hold parts, different tools he uses, the way he uses them, the everyday regular tools we have like tweezers and pliers and different things, and just tape, and how he uses those to good effect to work with really small, delicate parts, such as folding up workable hinges and things like that, which a lot of people, if you're like me, it just drives you insane trying to work that stuff, and you end up stuffing half of it up and throwing it out anyway, or just folding it up any old way just so it looks like it's done. This guy here shows you how to do it, and it's always great to watch an expert work. Like, you watch this guy do it, and he makes mistakes as well, which is good. He shows you mistakes he makes on here, how to correct that mistake and so on, like gluing a part on and it was crooked, so he had to take it off. Well, in fact, he actually soldered it on crooked and then had to take it off and reapply it, and he shows you how to do that. And a couple other mistakes he makes in there, and then shows you how he then goes on to correct that. He does a lot of battle damage with the fenders and things that he puts on there, and again, that's invaluable for armour modelers, because battle damage on your tanks is just awesome. It's an awesome thing to have on there, but it's not easy to do with photo etch. You can get it wrong, and it can look really, really bad and poorly done, and doesn't look authentic if you don't do it the right way. This guy goes through it step by step, and honestly, it's just amazing the results he gets by the end of this DVD. If people are buying this to look at the like the fine details of the uses of soldering and things like that, you're not going to find it on this DVD. Okay, he quickly goes into sharpening up his points, keeping the solder points clean, things like that. Says he uses a liquid flux and a non-resin core wire, but that's about the detail he goes into. He doesn't talk about what temperatures to run it at, why he uses liquid flux versus gel flux versus things like that. So that's not in there, but honestly, you can find that information anywhere on the internet, just basics and soldering and things like that. But to watch this guy using a soldering iron the way that he does, and the techniques he uses, is just fantastic, because it's all pointed at using it with photo etch, really, really fine parts. Now I'm talking about the size of pinheads and soldering them on. This guy's fantastic, and he shows you all in here how to do that sort of thing. Okay, one of the other things that he does in here, which is fantastic to see, he shows you the correct order in doing photo etch parts. Say like a toolbox, instead of folding up all four sides and then trying to get soldered in inside and the hinges and things like that, he does it in a certain order and explains why, and shows you why he's done it that way. Only folding up two sides of the toolbox first, rolling the fuel tanks, slightly bending both ends, doing the ends, and he shows you the order and why he does it in that order. That just makes it easier to work with this stuff. And to be honest, a couple of things he shows you, the traps that I've fallen into, where I've folded things up and then just find it impossible to get little details in there, and especially with soldering and things like that. Well, this guy shows you his way of doing it, and honestly, it's a really great tip. He has some fantastic tips for actually handling the etch, especially the fine stuff, the really small stuff like your clips on your toolboxes and things like that. Using different techniques, picking up small parts, using tape to hold them down, things like that, using blue tack. I do think this guy now has got something like a blue tack, but obviously different consistency and made up a bit different, that he sells himself on his site, on Adam Wilder's site, which does basically the same thing as a blue tack, but I think it's more made for what we do here with the working with photo etch parts. So the other good thing about this DVD is the close-up work of the camera is just fantastic, guys. It gets right in close. I mean, talking about photo etch the size of pinheads, and you can see it clear as anything. It takes up your whole screen, and you can see it's just beautiful detail in there. The guy himself on here, his talking you through it is fantastic, but just you'll have to forgive him for doing the cheesy attempted humour and stuff like that. I mean, he's probably like a lot of us modelers. We're not that great at the humour side of things, and yeah, I mean, that's not what the DVD's for, but what it was made for is to helping us do photo etch and how to deal with it, and it wins that hands down. I love this DVD, and I can really highly recommend it. If you want to do some work with photo etch and you want to do some really fine work with photo etch, this is the DVD to have, guys. It's fantastic. And I've searched all over the internet for different types of photo etch stuff on how to work with and things like that, and I've picked up some good tips over the years, but this here is just absolutely awesome, guys. So if you want to do photo etch, honestly, you've got to get hold of this. Fantastic stuff. Okay, well, that's the end of that review. Next I'm going to review his other DVD, the MX Expressions Authentic Metal DVD, and we'll go into that, and I'll upload that in a separate video. But yeah, just watch them both, guys, and leave any comments that you have below. I will be actually using some of these techniques and showing you how they're done by myself. I'm just going to get out some waste etch parts that I've got from old kits and things like that, and I'm just going to have a bit of a practice, and I'll show you guys how all that works. But yeah, guys, highly recommended. Go and do yourself a favour and grab one of these if you're into photo etch. Okay, we'll see you next video. Thanks, guys.